Start the Brookings County Commission meeting, May 7th, 2024. Please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 3 on the agenda is an invitation for a citizen to schedule time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. There is a 5-minute time limit per person. Anyone wanting to speak during this agenda item must sign in prior to the start of the meeting. No commission action will be taken during this agenda item. Any requested action item may be scheduled for a future meeting date. We have one individual that signed in. Mr. Jeff Struy, would you please come forward?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We start out by acknowledging our law enforcement. So Marty, stay safe out there. We still have storms coming. U.S. Code 52-20701 is the retention and preservation of records and papers by officers of elections. Deposit with custodian, and there's a penalty for violations. Every officer of election shall retain and preserve for a period of 22 months from the date of any general, special, or primary election of which the candidates for the office of President, Vice President, President, Elector, Member of the Senate, Member of the House of Representatives, or resident of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico are voted for. All records and papers which come into their possession relating to any application, registration, payment of poll tax, or other act requisite to voting in such election, except that, when required by law, such records and papers may be delivered to another officer of election, and except that, if a state or the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico designates a custodian to retain and preserve these records and papers at a specified place, then such records and papers may be deposited with such custodian, and the duty to retain and preserve any record or paper so deposited shall devolve upon such custodian. Any officer of election or custodian who willfully fails to comply with this section shall be fined not more than $1,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. I repeat, this is the U.S. Code 52-20701. This section specifically refers to ballot images, or better known as cast vote records. Also, U.S. Code 52-20702, theft, destruction, concealment, mutilation, or alteration of records or papers, and there's penalties. Any person, whether or not an officer of election or custodian, who willfully steals, destroys, conceals, mutilates, or alters any record or paper required by Section 20701 of this title to be retained and preserved shall be fined not more than $1,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. Now, I recall, it's been several months ago, but there was meetings between ES&S and several auditors and other people, including the Secretary of State's office, where the question was posed, this switch, is it supposed to be on or off? And they said, we have no reason why it should be ever turned off. So in other words, it's supposed to be in the on position. Several counties, including this county, Brookings County, is in violation of this. There's a lot of surrounding counties, and it's starting to be spearheaded. So this is just kind of an information for our commissioners and our election officials. Thank you.
Moving on, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments, additions, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 5 is consent agenda items, as includes the minutes, travel and education requests, personnel action notices, cellular authorizations, and the human services report. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Any additions? Call the roll, please.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Item number 6 is routine business, approval of the claims. We have a motion to approve the claims.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Moving on to item number B, department head reports. Brian, would you like to start?
Morning.
Morning.
Well, here before construction roars to life, we got a few projects showing a little life. Pre-con meeting scheduled 2024 at 11 o'clock for the Aurora project. We're going to get the schedule kind of from the contractor and figure out when they're going to decide to close down that County Road 23. As mentioned earlier with Banner's presentation on that. Another project that's kind of started on the south of town there is Western Avenue, and they needed to set up some temporary traffic control on 44th Avenue to expose the manhole at Western and 44th Avenue. That happened on the Tuesday last week, or 4:30, and our crews have been kind of doing a few odds and ends before we start our projects as the farmers are getting in the field. And aside from that, the crews have been up kind of cleaning up and prepping for seeding at the brew shop. But now that it's rained, where it's kind of on a standstill. And then finally, May 2nd here, met with Volga Township and met on a culvert project in the for the RAIF. And I suggested that they get a hold of Greg, because it's currently a cattle pass, and this project I wanted to kind of put to out in front of you guys, because it is currently not on their 5-year plan, but it is separated enough that it's making holes in the road. And I know Volga kind of reached out to Stacy last week, and the need is there, but like to get some suggestions from Greg before we bring that forward to you and go that way.
So as part of the Rural Access Infrastructure Program, there is sort of an emergency clause, so to speak, that says, you know, if there is sudden deterioration of a culvert, that those funds could be used in those instances. So I think Greg has he been, I don't know if he's been out to look at it.
I contacted him last week after I looked at it. It is currently a cattle pass. The contractor that I met with had talked about possibly just kind of putting them back together and tying them together, but I had requested that Greg looked at it, because I guess I don't know how to fully determine what we need there for drainage, as it's right now made for cattle to walk through.
Right, and I don't, yeah, if that was still going to be a needed use for that, because I think there was some discussion, because it's a pretty big box culvert now to allow cattle to pass through it. If that was still a need, or if it could be, you know, a couple smaller culverts that still equal the same square footage in there. I think there's some more discussion to be had there, but this is kind of on our radar.
So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that this might be coming down the pipe.
Where's that at?
It'd be to the west of Olga on 460th Avenue, approximately an 1/8 mile north.
So the cattle go underneath the road, the public road?
Currently, it hasn't been being used or utilized, but the same landowner is on both sides. But Greg was mentioning in these cases that if it was the same landowner, he'd have to sign off on it.
But it is public road going over the top.
Correct.
Is this on the township line or no?
I guess I didn't look that close.
It is, it's on the Volga Banger Township line.
Okay. Aside from that, a little bit more of an RAIF update. We're working through all of our, as we know now, our minimum maintenance roads are eligible for these funds. In the initial survey that we did do, there's just a little bit of cleanup as far as just computer work. We don't need to physically go out and find those culverts. We'd identified them in the original survey. There's just odds and ends that we need to clean up as far as which jurisdiction that those culverts lie on. So we do have those already identified, so those will get paid in this next round of funding.
Any other questions?
Brian, educate me here, but on the bridge improvement grants, do we have a list of the ones we have been approved for and the ones we've been rejected or whatever?
Yes,
Thank you.
and it is available on the DOT website on the big grant funding also on the state website, the ones that we have been awarded. And I've also identified them, or had the GIS, Brandon help me with identifying them on a map to provide to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Sheriff?
Good morning. Just briefly, just a detention, quick overview. As of yesterday, we have 47 inmates. Again, over the weekends, we have anywhere from 50 to 55. So weekends can continue to keep busy for staff, but some of those then are released on Mondays and so forth. We have 19 of Brookings County inmates, and the rest are out of county, 2 from Dual County, 3 from Flandreau Sioux Tribe, 2 from Kingsbury, 1 from Hamlin, 2 from Moody, 9 from the U.S. Marshal Service. We had 13, but they had moved some to court and got sentenced, so we're expecting some more in at any time. The 24/7 program stays busy. Our coordinator back there does a good job keeping tabs and everything. We have 151 participants, so she keeps track of 151 people. We have 45 that come in twice a day, so that's 90 people that come in just for that. I have 7 on remote breath test, 17 on Scram, 54 on UAs, and that's the 24/7 UAs. So they come in twice a week. So that's, I'm sure glad we did what we did and how we handled that 24/7 area for the traffic in that area. And then in drug court, we have 17 UAs, but that's not affiliated with 24/7. That's separate. That's through the court system. And then the GPS, we have 11 on GPS. Yeah, it's been busy at the office. As you know, we had the payloader pursuit here a week or so ago, and my staff did a great job on handling that. That could have been worse than it was, but it ended well. Probably helped that he didn't know how to drive it the best. And we had an alert citizen that saw this payloader and thought something was up the way he was driving, and so that worked out good. That nobody was hurt, and there minimal damage. My K-9 deputy is in the second phase of training. He's went through the narcotics side. He's did a couple searches for the highway patrol, but now he's back at training. It'll be 7 weeks. He'll be at training to do the apprehension and then the tracking side. The storm last night, we had no reports of any damage, to my office. The only thing that is Elkton had, their lights went out about 10 and got back on at midnight. So I don't know what happened, what that caused that. And then just the other thing is I have a deputy out on family leave. His wife decided to have a baby early, and so Dane Larson has a little boy, so he's out for a while with that. So other than that, it's busy with, and I've talked about it before, when weather comes nice, then it's the speeding complaints and those types of things that we're trying to address, and work locations where we get the big complaints and so forth. So other than that, unless you guys have anything for me. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Lori with finance? Okay. Bob?
Good morning. We had a 911 meeting on the 17th. Sent Richard to Aberdeen, April 23 to 24 for a 2-day floodplain training course. I sent Ray Lynn to Watertown for a rapid tag 1-day training course on May 1st. The Office of Emergency Management Director Tina Titsey visited our office April 29th, just an annual visit. Brookings Fire Department had their feed on the 30th. We did a communications drill on May 1st, and we're going to rectify the problems we found during that drill. 2 separate tornado warnings were issued last night, one for the city of Brookings and the Central Park, which would include Volga, Brookings, Aurora. And then once that one expired at 8:45, they immediately put one out over for the Elkton area, eastern side of the county. And that storm was centered on Pipestone more so, but that's what knocked the power out in Elkton. Later today, I'll be on the radio station, and tonight we've got a planning and zoning meeting. May 9th, we got a PPCC pod meeting. May 16th, we got a local emergency planning committee meeting. During the PPCC pod meeting, we do have a Department of Health grant to update our plans and have an exercise this year. I have contracted with a guy to go ahead and work with that for us. And on the Madera Township Diversion Project, I got a bill downstairs I've got to pay. Right now, it looks like the engineer has spent about 17 hours working with the Natural Resource Conservation Service, trying to get the plans to jive between the two. We are still planning on, hopefully by the end of June, to have a public meeting on that particular project. Any questions?
Any questions for Bob?
Thank you.
Thank you. Scott? I'd like to welcome Scott Smith to the county, our new BCOAC advisor.
Don't have a lot to report. I'm started my 3rd week today, so it's going good. Spent a lot of time just organizing, reading, that type of thing. So excited to be here. It's a great opportunity, and yeah, that's about all I have for today. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Nope.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yep. Misty? The weed department.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just put in a report on May 4th. We had our gopher trapping field day from 1 to 4 up on Jimmy Jensen's land. A big thank you to Jimmy Jensen. Pete Harper, he's with the South Dakota State Trapping Association, did a wonderful job. We had 14 people attend, but as we were standing there, everybody's like, oh, we have graduation for SDSU, we have this going on, we have this going on. I think it was pretty good turnout. There was about 4 kids that attended. The first trap that we had set that day, the kids at the end of the trapping session, which was about 4 o'clock, everybody started leaving. The kids went and got the trap, and they were ecstatic. They caught a gopher. They thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So we hit 1 or 2 kids. That was our main goal. We had some landowners curious how to trap. I've had numerous calls since Saturday about what to do. If I don't know how to answer the question, I message Pete, and he gets me the information I can relay to them. So thank you to Pete and the South Dakota State Trapping Association and also for ITC and Sioux Valley for putting in money towards the gopher traps. Everybody went home with 1 to 2 traps at the end of this trapping program. Any questions on that? I am looking into possibly getting it scheduled for next year in the spring. Pete's weekends are all, but he's booked up. He doesn't have time to do another trapping class like we did last Saturday. So next spring, I will look forward to that, and I'll work with Pete on that. We have all of our vehicles, trucks, pickups out, ready to spray. We're gonna calibrate this afternoon, so we make sure we're putting out the correct amount of chemical. On county roads, we'll be using 240 in the spring and graze on PD and 3 in the fall. And then we're currently working on gophers in right-of-ways on the county roads and DOT. We're about finished. I believe we've got 3 county roads left. And then I'm not quite sure how many DOT roads, but quite a few of them, because we just started on DOT. And just want to let you guys know, I did send a letter out to ITC Sioux Valley. ITC had contacted me about a month ago about raising the gopher bounty amount per pair of feet. Currently, it's at $2. ITC suggested we raise it to $3 per pair of feet. We're not budgeted for 2024, so in 2025, they agree that we'll raise the budget, or excuse me, the amount to $3 per pair of feet for the gopher program. Right now, currently, the county or the weed department gives 50 cents towards the $2, townships, ITC, and Sioux Valley. So that makes up our $2 gopher bounty, I'm sorry. So I just wanted to put that bug in your ear. I've gotten response back from 2 townships already. Every township did get a letter, and I asked them to get back to me by May 24th, so I could put that in our budget.
Any questions for Misty?
Thanks.
Thank you. Jacob? Nope. Okay. That concludes the department head reports. Moving on to, we have time moving on to regular business. Letter A, action to approve abatement number 24-24, an abatement application made by Melalahana 2 LLC in the amount of $4,445.73 for parcel number 40501-00100-000-00. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments, Jacob?
Yeah, this is the last abatement in that group of apartments where legislation changed South Dakota Codified Law 10.6.137.1 in relation to when those apartments are under construction and we hit the legal assessment date of November 1 and they're not complete. Previously, we had assessed them at the percentage of construction complete. The new law states that we may not assess those properties until they are 100% complete. So this one in particular was for the 23 assessment taxes payable in 24, and that whole amount of taxes on that partial complete structure is what we're abating.
Okay. Any questions? Further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried. Item B, action to approve agreement number 24-52, an agreement to dissolve the Brookings Regional Railroad Safety Authority. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments?
So the Safety Authority was established in 2009 between the City of Brookings and Brookings County. This was when, if you recall, if you have been around Brookings for a while, there was discussion about the coal trains and concerns with coal trains coming through and discussion on putting a bypass north of town. And so the city and county created this Safety Authority. It has been basically non-existent since that issue sort of took care of itself and went away. So to not confuse the two authorities, our regional railroad authority that we still have that, that we have, and I think we're starting to try to add some members to that, is still going to exist and is still functioning. This just dissolves that safety authority. This resolution then would go to, or this agreement rather, would go to the city of Brookings as well. They are aware of it. Actually, Steve Brightsman, the city attorney, drafted the agreement. So after we approve it, it would go on to them for approval as well.
Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item number C, action to approve agreement number 24-53, an amendment to agreement number 22-103, the 214th Street feasibility and H&H study contract between Brookings County and Banner and Associates. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments?
This amendment adds to, kind of adds on to the agreement that we have with Banner regarding 214th Street and that original feasibility study. It's just shy of $48,000. This allows for project management and coordination, some, identifying preferred alternatives for this project, facilitating some stakeholder and public meetings, and also facilitating a funding workshop as well.
Any questions? This is basically to keep moving forward and have public meeting and have banners pretty much set up and conduct those meetings and keep gathering information.
I think it's a good idea to keep moving forward on this project. These are types of things we have to do with public meetings to also qualify for grants and things like that. So just the next step forward for us moving forward, and I think it's a good idea.
A little later in the meeting today, we will be officially taking over that stretch of road. So I think it's a good idea to keep moving forward, as Commissioner Krogman said, and have any chance at any future grants, we need to have this all in place. So with that, we call roll, please.
Krogman?
Aye.
Hostler?
Aye.
Vanderwall?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, action to approve the following, well, just a minute, we better wait on that. Maybe we can get through. Action to approve the following renewals of retail, on-off sale malt, beverage, and South Dakota farm wine license for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. We have each establishment, and we'll go through these separately. We start with the Brookings Country Club. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
All of these renewals that are in front of you, our office, I guess, recommends approval. The only one that we would have comments on would be SVK Properties Midway Camp. And I'm not sure if the sheriff has anything else to add to having any concerns for these, but everyone is compliant.
Sheriff, any concerns? Okay. Okay, Brookings Country Club, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carried. Number 2, Cusman's LLC, ABR. Do I have a motion approved?
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Okay. I'll stop with that. We do have a scheduled agenda item. Public hearing and action to approve resolution number 24-17, a resolution adding certain roads to the Brookings County Highway system. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing. All those in favor of, or opponents this item, speak. All proponents that would like to speak. All the opponents, would you like to speak? All the opponents? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments from the commission?
So you'll recognize that we're redoing this resolution essentially. Once we did submit it, we had adopted the exact same resolution several weeks ago. It got to DOT, and that's when we realized some of the rules at the DOT end have changed with regards to adding and deleting roads from to the county system. We had to have a public hearing and notice that public hearing, and that had not happened with the first initial resolution. So we had to kind of take a step back, notice the public hearing, and that's why we're here doing this again today, so that we would have the opportunity to notice that. So what happens now is basically today I will get this sent off to those out in Pier at DOT, and hopefully within the next day or two we'll get that confirmation back from them that it is officially belongs to Brookings County. Hopefully know that in the next couple days.
Any other questions? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Hostler,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, back to item number D. Number 3 is Beach Bums Incorporated Danceland Campground. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item 4 is Good Roots Farm and Gardens. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item 5, K&K Enterprises, the Corner Gas and Goodies. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item 6, Shade Vineyard Incorporated. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item 7, Skyview Junction LLC. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you. Sorry. Before you guys take action on this next applicant, SVK Properties LLC, also known as Midway Camp, the applicant has not paid the first half property taxes yet. I've been in contact with the applicant. He did say that he would be in today to pay that. So I think we would recommend to approve the application contingent upon the property taxes, first half property taxes being paid.
Okay, SVK Properties LLC, Midway Camp. I'd entertain a motion to.
Move to approve with contingency of them paying their first half taxes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as soon as first half of taxes are paid. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item 9, Wagon Wheel Resort LLC. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to item E, action to approve an amended rural access infrastructure grant application for Preston Township. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments?
Preston Township was approved earlier this year in January for a project that was a pretty significant project, pushing that, $1,000 bid limit price. Looked at that project again and determined that we could do culverts, smaller culverts, like size, still square footage of drainage, but culverts instead, which reduced the price significantly down to from about 114,000 estimated to just under $37,000. So yes, they have been approved, so this would basically be amending that application from earlier and approving this one instead.
Any questions?
Just one comment, the recommendations for these culverts came from South Dakota LTAP, and a little bit of different aspect to avoid having some issues with the spacing. Each township that we're looking at, we're getting recommendations from LTAP, and they're giving the township diagrams to properly space those culverts to ensure that they're properly spaced so they don't become a Brookings County structure. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Any other questions? Called.
I think that's a really good idea, to get LTAP involved on those because, as we keep putting these together, we don't want to run into problems where they're not put in, we got to pull them back, and then ends up having, twice the cost or more the cost there. So I think that communication, hopefully, between yourself, LTAP, and the townships is getting better, and that we can get the right situation done right at the beginning and get the work done. So.
And that's why we've started involving South Dakota LTAP in this, is to help alleviate some of those issues and to give the contractors that are working for those townships directives, so to speak, and proper installation of those culverts.
Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Item F, discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of radios for the highway department and to use commission project funds for that purchase. Discussion on request.
I have Brian Sale with me here from Vantech Communications to cover any of the technical questions you guys may have. As you guys can see later in that report there, I've got the pieces of equipment that would be intended for the installation. So I can answer any of that type of questions, but as far as the technical questions go, I'll direct those towards Brian.
I know it was in our packet, but could you quickly just go over the number of pieces of equipment that need radios in the shop and main shop, truck shed?
I've
Handhelds.
outlined, we have 3 satellite shops, Bruce, White, and Sinai, and 3 radios would be requested for the main shop. 1 would be in the front, 1 would be in the break room, and 1 would be in the main part of the shop, and then also 1 for the truck shed, which is located to the east of there. They're currently without having a truck turned on. We don't have any radio communication out there to talk with the guys if that need does arise. So totaling 50 radios, and then 4 handhelds were requested in that price, and that is for guys that would be flagging or outside a piece of equipment working on a job site.
Just for a moment, maybe you could explain how many radios we have now. I know we discussed that our radios would not be digital at this point. This would make a change to the state specifications to a certain degree as far as communication with the sheriff's department on different bands and so forth, and the possibility of adding GPS to those radios when the state gets that accomplished. So talk a little bit about how many radios this increases over what we have. We were always concerned about better communications in the highway department with all our vehicles.
Currently, right now, we're lacking in our newer equipment. We've taken the radios out to try to update those, so I would say we're right at about, probably 40 radios total, so we're about 10 short, 10, 15 short.
So this would increase our radios at least by 10 to 15 radios.
Correct.
And maybe a little discussion about the importance of the digital radios, and that might be from you, Brian.
Well, the digital, first of all, good morning, Commissioners. The digital radios will give communication between fire departments. Brookings PD even has the digital radios. It allows for interdepartment communications. And honestly, these radios could be used all across the state. If there were a large emergency in, say, Watertown or something like that that needed trucks from here to help out, they're absolutely available to use it then. It would be like the flooding in Pier several years ago. They called in trucks from all over the state. So
Is our current radios, is there any value to that existing equipment?
yes, I would take those in and trade if that's what you'd like. I would give you, depending on the model and how old they are and things, we'd come up with at this point, I could give you probably $100 per working radio towards this.
And none of those currently could be programmed to, like, say, communicate with the DOT or the sheriff's office, or
They're currently, well, let's go back up a step. All digital radios will do analog. So yes, the sheriff's radios, the fire department radios, all have the capability of talking in VHF. These are all VHF radios in Brookings County. They can communicate, but this expands. Let's take Lake County. They might not be using UHF radios. Watertown, they might be using UHF instead of VHF, and those can't communicate back and forth. Going to the statewide digital system, it's everywhere in the state.
One of the things we look at because of the size of this purchase is the fact that we would consider using our special projects funds from the commissioners to cover our costs. The price is obviously high enough that we would probably have to go out to a bid process according to state law. So at that point, we would have to consider all costs, whether it's installation, trade-in, purchase of the radios, and timing. With Mr. Hill that he was going to put 2 radios into his budget for next year. If we're going to do this, I would include those 2 radios in this purchase, so we get the best price we can for them at this point in time. And again, these are one-time purchases that should last quite a while for us, and that's what we wanted to use the funds for in public safety and our equipment. Is there any chance that as we look at this, that we would want to split it into 2 budget items rather than the commission's special projects fund? Personally, I think the special project fund is the way it should go. If we were going to try and do it in budget process, it would be another year before we get this accomplished. Year and a half, probably.
Yeah, I guess I'm leaning towards the commission funds to get it done, get a project. I think if we did the budget process, we're a year out, and probably aren't going to go down in cost. So we've got that special projects funds. We've tried to use those funds you know, for long-lasting type of things here in public safety. And I think this is something that wasn't really budgeted for, so we'd have to wait quite a while. So I think it's would be a good use of our special projects funds.
We have just over 700,000 left to allocate in those funds too. So there are dollars available there.
Any other questions, concerns? I guess my only concern is that amount of radios having to communicate with throughout the state. We need that many radios to communicate with out of state. I can see where your snow removal equipment and your supervisors' pickups and your basically your emergency equipment that would go out on a storm cleanup or something like that. But is it the time to do it, or, like we said, split it up into two different groups? I guess that's just some of my concerns. I don't know if we're going to do any action today. We're just going to decide if we want to keep moving forward here. Is that what the commission would like to?
Well, I think we have to do a bid process, so I think it would be prudent to get all the radios that we need, get it in, get it out for bid, get that going, and then make it another item coming through. And then we can certainly decide if we want to use the commission projects or not. I don't know if we have to make that decision today either.
I think you should decide that. That would determine what that bid looks like, what the bid documents look like, because we need to know if we're going to get all of these or a portion. So I think making that decision on what you're going to do and what that bid's even going to look like needs to be decided today, so we know how to move forward.
I think you're correct in that assumption. And the other thing, to Commissioner Jensen's concerns, possibly we have Brian look at our radio situation and maybe with some help from Commissioner Jensen identify which radios really don't need to be digital. I like the idea of everything being able to talk to everything else and not pick and choose. But we could possibly have a bid put together for that specifically, for some analog, some digital, but we could look at it that way and see if there's a great difference between that and replacing what we have. So we could get together and put together those bid documents so we get what we want, and possibly into two types of bids if that's necessary. One for incomplete and one for reduced number, or reduced number with analog total being the same. So I think we can actually ask for bids. Brian, I assume that would be possible too.
Yes.
To bid it out that way so that we have a comparison to look at. But at this point, I would make a motion that we use commissioner funds to fund the project, and that we go out for bids.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to use commissioner funds. The other thing I'd like to take, Bob's department is also looking. I don't know if the sheriff's department is looking at radios also, or make sure we get those added into the bid process.
Bob,
And
you
if I
okay?
may, Commissioner, if I may, the digital tower is actually at the Brookings landfill, centralized, and it is owned by the state of South Dakota. So, to me, that's all to an advantage to us. Thank you.
My concerns is if there's a piece of equipment here that may get used 2-3 months out of the whole year, maybe get a couple more handhelds, so they can use that in the piece of equipment. Or Brian can go through there and kind of fine tune the list and come up with the exact amount. That'd be my recommendation, I guess. With that, we do have a motion on the table. Call the roll, please.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Hostler,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item G, action to automatically supplement for unanticipated expense incurred and reimbursement made to Brookings County amount of $1,297.73 to the state's attorney, general ledger line 101-4-151-4260, receipt number 00683541. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Comments?
I think this was for a duplicate payment. Got the check back, so.
Anything from state's attorney? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Krogman, Hostler,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
motion carries.
Item H, action to approve pay-ahead claims policy. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments?
This is more of a housekeeping policy just to give the county finance officer permission to pay a claim/bill before being approved by the commission when deemed necessary to avoid interest and charges.
Okay. Any questions here?
Oh, and I think this, now, in the past, we used to have county commission meeting every week. And we didn't miss anything. We could get it all done. Now, we go twice a month, which sometimes leads to a 3-week delay. And I think this makes it sense to do this. I don't think it's, out of line. We're not turning all bills over to the finance office or the finance officer. We're just giving that person the authority to avoid late charges just because we don't meet as often as we used to. So, like this last meeting was 3 weeks, and and it went over a first of the month, and so there could be a late fee if we don't get it. So, I think this makes sense, and I'm all for it.
I guess it makes sense to me. I'm sure you'll be reviewing if any of that need to be paid ahead. They'll be reviewed.
Yeah, and then they will be presented in a separate packet so that you'll know these are the ones that I approved ahead of time.
Good idea. Sheriff, you have a question?
A good policy, because we've had 2 issues where our credit card bill had come in and we missed the cutoff and stuff. And it's not like the old days when you knew who the credit card people were and they advanced you, but they cut me right off. So I had a deputy trapped in a town, but he was able to get money to get back out. But anyway, so it's a good policy.
Okay. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item I, action to approve the amended standard operating procedures for the Brookings County Outdoor Adventure Center firearms range. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments? Scott, any background here?
Yeah, with this, there was some work done to the observation room, and for what I've been told, it just more aligns the procedures for guns coming in, checking them, taking out some equipment and stuff that's no longer there. So it's just more aligning with how the building is now run and operated in there. So.
I think there were members of the pistol range committee or the gun range committee that reviewed these in detail, and it was presented to the advisory board, and the advisory board did approve those changes as well.
Any questions, Scott? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item J, action to appoint Ellie Vandenberg to the Housing and Redevelopment Commission for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2028. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments?
Yeah, I'm on this committee here, and we're glad to see Ellie put her request in again. She's very valuable to our board. She's an attorney that brings a good insight to it, and glad to have her, see her willingness to serve. So appreciate that.
Okay.
And there is an open seat on that board, we should say too, to fill Mr. McCauley's position. I think he resigned because he is moving,
Out
so.
of town, yeah, and we meet quarterly, so it's not a monthly type of thing there too. Again, very valuable. Housing Redevelopment Commission is very valuable to the city and the county. We're also serving other counties too on it, so it's not a huge time commitment, but very worthwhile commission. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in that. We do have, like I said, we do have a spot open. So.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item K, action approve a request to fill a vacancy for a corrections corporal in the detention center. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments?
It's due to a resignation.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item L is an action to approve request to fill vacancy for a part-time male correctional officer in the detention center. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments?
Again, another resignation.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Item M, action approve a request to fill vacancy for a temporary election worker in the finance office. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments?
Due to a resignation.
Okay, you said a resignation?
Correct. We have 4 temporary election workers to help us out for the primary and the general election. We still have 3 temporary election workers, so this would just, one resigned, so this would just replace that individual.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried. Commission Department Directors Report.
So I had this as we needed a quick answer on it, though this will probably come to you officially for the next meeting, but we did have an RFP change for the courthouse roof project, proposing a different drain, a little bit of extra cost, just a little over $1,400, so not super significant there, but just a reminder, you'll see that on the next agenda. I did include the updated work plan with my packet for you to take a look at. Worked with the different departments that it affected. I know Brian gave me some information on the BIG and the LFBR program projects, an update on all of those there. Beta, building, 214th. Since I've done this, we've probably done a few more things there that I can add on to 214th with the resolution today, and hopefully quick approval here by DOT coming. Bob did update the drainage concerns with Madera Township. He updated that information. Yeah, anything else that you, as you had a chance to look through that, anything else that you wanted to see on there? I will continue to keep this updated as we go along every few months or so. If not, there is today a reminder that we have the groundbreaking ceremony for the Ivy Center over at Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness. That's at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll make sure that if you're able to get there, you can be there. SDACC, we're already talking resolutions for September Fall Convention. Don't want to talk about September when it's not even summer yet, but here we are. So if there's anything that you want to submit for resolutions to to our state association, those have to be there by the end of July. We do have an upcoming, do we have another, I don't think we even have another 10 county meeting now before then. I think the next one is in August. So to vet those at that level. But so if you have anything, let me know. Anything you can think of, and we can kind of talk through that process. We did also receive a thank you from the DUI and drug court for that, the money from the opioid settlements that we sent over that way. Otherwise, the only other thing that a couple other things, I guess, the joint meeting is also this evening at 5:30 here in this room. So you know when you come in, since we'll be up here and kind of snug with the city council, the county commission will be down here at the north end with the chair kind of towards the center. And then, so when you get here, plan on that way. There'll be a short part of the city council. They have to get their new, their recently elected officials sworn in, and then we'll get into that joint meeting. But I don't anticipate that taking very long this evening at all. Other than that, I would like kind of a consensus of the board to publish a supplemental budget resolution once again. This would be specifically for the rural access infrastructure project and the costs associated with that this year. I don't budget anything in there. I kind of wait to see what projects we get in and approve, and then do a supplemental budget to fill in the dollar amount there. So I see heads shaking yes. You're all okay with that? Great. Other than that, upcoming dates, we will be closed on the 27th, Monday, for Memorial Day. Primary election day is coming up here in short order, June 4th. Polls are open 7 to 7. And then please note too that we meet on Thursday, June 6th that week. So in a couple of meetings, we will be having a Thursday meeting, same time, same place. That's just to have the opportunity to canvass those primary election results. So we won't be meeting on election day. We'll meet on that Thursday. Looking a little bit further out into June, we have Safety Week planned for the week that includes the 13th of June, and then the safety picnic out at the BCOAC on June 13th. And then if you don't have it on your calendars, please do. We have budget hearings next door in the community room on June 19th. It's a Wednesday. And we will get going at 8 a.m., not 8:30. We'll start at 8 and kind of get process and discussions and stuff done. And then the first department will be in at 8:30. And we usually wrap up a little bit before 5, but please kind of mark off that entire day on your calendars for those. I think that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions, Stacy? Thank you. State's Attorney's Office report. Item 11 is Commissioner reports and discussion. Vanderwall?
Thank you. On Thursday, April 18th, I attended the 911 board meeting. And then on Sunday, April 28th, the Aurora firemen had their annual feed in Aurora. And then on Tuesday, April 30th, in Brookings, I attended the Brookings Fireman Steak Fry. That's my report. Thank you.
Commissioner Bartley?
All right, April 22nd, gas valve opening for the methane gas injection into the natural gas pipeline. It was well attended. Looks like quite a project. It sounds like at its completion they'll be able to satisfy 10,000 homes with natural gas just based off the methane gas that they're collecting. On the 25th, I went to a first district meeting at noon up in Watertown. It was our annual meeting and our budget meeting. It went well. Got through that process. Then on the same day, I got back to town about 3 o'clock for the Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness bid opening. The bid opening came in as expected. It really turned out well. And obviously it leads to our groundbreaking this afternoon that I hope everybody can attend. That's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Krogman?
Yes, on the 18th of April, we had Growth Partnership meeting. We're meeting quarterly on that, and finalizing the lease for the new Poet Building there. On the 24th, we had a beta meeting. Ridership is up. It's been very good. Still working on the appraisal for the building on ours. The appraiser was pulled off that to do another appraiser, and so another appraisal. And you just can't grab an appraiser. You have to get one that's approved, and so they're pretty
And Ryan,
busy.
can I just quick interrupt too? Travis is going to come on the 21st of May and just kind of give Travis Bortnam with
Okay.
Beta and talk about
Good.
everything. So
Good. So anyway, we had that meeting, and then on the 25th, we had Brookings Housing Commission meeting, and because we did not have quorum, we were unable to take action on any items, and we'll do that at our next meeting. But now that Ellie's on, we'll be good to go. So that's my report.
Commissioner Hostler.
Yeah, thank you. On 17th of April, I attended virtually the BEDC monthly board meeting. On the 22nd of April, we had the Brookings Outdoor Adventure Center advisory meeting, and then on the 25th, Domestic Abuse Shelter advisory meeting.
Thank you. On the 17th, still working on some budget items and the items there. On 19th, I did attend the Lincoln Supper up at Club 71. We heard from numerous candidates running for office. It was an eventful evening. The 22nd, we had our BCOAC Advisory Board meeting. Kind of a special meeting, sending Dustin off and welcoming Scott Smith to the ranks out there. On the 28th, I did attend the fire department breakfast in Aurora also. And on the 30th, I attended the Brookings Firemen's Annual Feed, a good steak there. The other day, I did stop out at the DOT office with some rolls, thanking the maintenance crew for installing and taking down the snow fence at the Aurora corner. The last couple snows, we did see a little benefit from the fence, and I thought it was a very worthwhile project. And I'd like to thank those guys again for working with landowner and getting that done. With that,
just one quick thing too, a reminder for Sean and Kelly, we have Joint Powers Board on Thursday morning this week. And then for Kelly and Larry, we have E911 next Thursday, the 16th. That's budget meeting. So make sure you have those on your calendar as well.
Go check that. Okay. Item 12, executive session. 1-25-2, parentheses 1, personnel. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to enter an executive session in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are in executive session.